everybody, and welcome to another Ascension message from me, Bobby Richardson. I will be your guide for today. So today I'm going to channel through my team, the CYANIANS. And they are benevolent beings who visited me. They look like see-through kind of blue, etheric beings that hold the universe within them. They live very close to oneness. They can morph into spirit balls. The spirit balls that I saw them morph into was rainbow color, and they can also morph into humanoids as well. Their intention is to observe and help guide others that are moving towards or closer to oneness, or to source energy, because they reside very close to source energy. They can also come down and craft that look like UFOs, or that vessel will always show up as we want to see it. So say, for instance, we were back in the 60s and we were more in alignment with a 60s style craft, then that's what it would show. If it's now, it would be more elaborate and so forth. But really it's a light craft, and they can shift very quickly from light to humanoid if they want. So that's because they reside very close to source energy, and their experience of everything as an overseer. They can give very beautiful guidance that is close to source energy, God, oneness, prime creator, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then they can give this whole other perspective. So this channel message will be on their perspective. I tend to channel them through more than anyone else. They gave me dreams and signs and a lot of information as I went along my journey, that they were coming and that they were going to start to communicate through me. So here we are now, and this is what I'm doing. First of all, they grounded this message through me a few days ago. So I'm going to read this one out, and then I'm going to tap into them even more for more explanation or where this could go. Most humans only have a percentage of their soul grounded into their bodies. For this reality blocks love, which is what the soul is. It is God going on a journey through your body. It's the essence of who you are as the observer. It is the point where all existence derives from, that of love. It is time now for much more of the soul to be grounded, which will present humanity with a whole other perspective of their reality. This is why so many are going through difficult times at the moment, because the breaking up of the logical mind, which is held on to the past way too much, will open up a space for each person doing this work to feel the soul more, which is also grounding it. This grounding of the soul will also shatter old beliefs of self as a victim to this world, because the soul's knowing is that it is the creator, just as oneness or God is. We realize that it will be a difficult transition for many, as letting go of these beliefs that you don't deserve also shows up the parts in your life that the soul cannot tolerate, as it goes against the fact that you are magnificent, which could throw you into a position of letting go of things you used to easily put up with when you felt a victim to life. This doesn't mean that it won't hurt when you let go, because there are parts of you that will need to let go of that which you are used to, and you have found comfort in keeping yourself small. as well as you could end up letting go of what was perceived as a great life to you once before. But with the soul's integration, you now notice that you actually deserve more. This is literally moving you into higher and higher frequencies as your world reflects the love you have found for yourself and evolves into a reality that supports your newfound truth. This is why you actually have nothing to fear in letting go of the past, as this letting go will automatically usher in a new beginning. When this happens to more and more of you, you will find you never had to fight which you wanted to get rid of. In fact, you will start to see the fight as keeping you stuck, as an eye for an eye makes the world go blind, meaning once the fights stop and each and every one of you realize it is only you aligning with more of your soul or love of self that will gift you a reality that moves you far beyond the limitations of the guilt and fear, that this is where nothing can harm you, because your reality will show you so many more doorways that those who kept you bound could never have the resources to close them all. And you will be able to move through your life looking for more and more opportunities to feel into your soul or love, expanding your reality to unknown gifts. As the ordinary starts to experience the extraordinary, they will surpass all lower ropes that once held them bound. This is the freedom you are all searching for. It was never meant for you to change your outer world, but rather your inner dialogue and feelings, which will then reflect a much better world to live in, aligning you with you and your wishes and desires. So now I will channel through the CYANIANS. It's actually a really dark day today. We've got a lot of over clouds. It's quite dim in this room at the moment. It looks like it's going to absolutely pour down outside. So how I channel through my CYANIAN friends, I was going to say, my soul group, the CYANIANS, is I actually have them with me constantly. So it's an easy transition, but I just like to teach you guys a little bit of what I'm doing. I've got my hands still flat on my wooden table and my feet flat on the ground. But I think that more than anything with them is the breathing. So each breath that I do, I relax a little bit more, just to bring myself back into my intuitive mind, because I was just reading and that's logical. So, and what I do is I find a space in my mind. It's just a space. It's nothing to it. No expectations, no nothing. And then I start to use my imagination, and whenever I use my imagination and see them, and I've been very fortunate because they've come to me, they've shown themselves, and I also know the feeling of them as well. And then I just let them be part of a conversation that's rolling around in my head, and I will speak from my heart. Meaning my logical mind doesn't have much say unless it's necessary. Okay. So humanity is going through massive shifts at the moment, as we all know, and especially those that are watching something like this. You know, you've done the work and you've done the work and you've done the work and you've done the work, and they so see that. They so see that tenaciousness and you and humanity moving through this, especially the light workers, the ones that have come from higher benevolence, the ones that souls have a memory, a strong memory of where they've come from. But right now we are going through what they are only showing me as a void. But within that void is a spark of consciousness, and we'll call that the eye of the needle. And we are threading through the eye of a needle. So what's the eye of a needle? The spark of consciousness, it is love. So as we thread ourselves through that, they're literally showing me a warped figure, like silly putty, being stretched and warped and pulled. And oh my gosh, I feel like my life has been stretched this way and stretched that way. And, you know, but it is asking us, we are asking ourselves to move through. Well, the only way that we can fit through that eye of the needle is to come back to self-love, to love of all things, to the soul's message of just being that spark of consciousness in this body. And so to do that, we are breaking away all else. And that's why we're talking about breaking up stories before in the other channel message and how difficult it can be. But the benefits of this is going to be it's going to be an, what's a word for that? Only word I can think of is magnificent. But they're also saying it could feel overwhelming. For the logical mind, because when the logical mind only comes through as love, it has to break down all the stories that it thought was holding it in a limited state of awareness and a very small consciousness. So you might see your life is being shattered and rebuilt and shattered and rebuilt and shattered and rebuilt. And each step that you do, each movement that you take towards rebuilding, you are letting go of a piece that doesn't align with that spark of consciousness that you want to move through as the love of self, as God's source energy, just that. So they said that the way that you will find those stories that cannot fit through is tension will start to build up in your body and anxiety in your hearts. And then you know, I have to let go of something here. And they're also telling me that in letting go, you might realize it was actually a smaller limited of belief that was held by the logic that made you feel that that person, object, thing was the thing that you needed to let go of. But when you let go of them, it wasn't the person. It was the way you thought or perceived the person. It was the way that you're experiencing your life. So when we break it down, we start to realize we can actually let go of people, objects, businesses, whatever, and then find when we come back into just, oh, well, it's over now. It doesn't matter anymore. And when you say it doesn't matter anymore, the release of trying, the release of pushing that to work, all falls away from you. And then you are left with, oh, actually, I can pick that back up again, but not from the stressful situation that you were, or the stressful perspective that you were before. You are coming from love, and you are entering that from a love point of view. And keep on moving towards that. And if you feel that tension start to rise again, or the building again, or that fear start to come, which is just your logical mind playing games with you, break it down again, let go. And you'll start to realize it actually gets easier and easier to let go of these stories that come into your logical mind, because you're not necessarily letting go of the thing that you really truly desire. Because remember, the thing that you truly desire, if it's aligned with your soul, if it is a mission, if you are supposed to be with that person or be in that job or be in that position to gain higher perspective, to move through the eye of the needle because you love yourself, because that is your mission, what you're supposed to be doing in this moment. And all missions are as what you're supposed to be doing in this moment and the next moment and the next moment anyway. It is in alignment with your soul that had an ideal way of living through love. And so you might pick it back up again. So you end up finding it gets easier to let go because you're not so afraid. And anything that isn't aligned, that is coming at you from a place that was keeping you small, people, objects, businesses, doesn't matter what it is, will fall away. Any ideas that you had, maybe you had an idea to travel to Bali and you're like pushing for it to happen and it just was hitting brick walls all the time. And then you're just like, why can't I seem to make this work? Why am I now? Another bill's come up. I have to use that money for that. I can't seem to get my my energy and move over to Bali or move there for a holiday or whatever it is. And then you go, okay, that's it. I let it go. I'm just letting it go. And I'm coming back into the space of loving who I am in this moment, where I'm at right here, right now. And then two things can happen. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I've been trying so hard to make that work that it stressed me out so much that it wasn't coming from love. And so when you release it, all of a sudden, all of the pieces started flowing and coming into place and the ticket's there. And then, oh my God, we're going. Or it could be that, oh my gosh, I wasn't supposed to go to Bali. Oh, I had this travel thing in my head and I got it in my head that it was Bali, but it was actually Uluru or, some other place. And there was a greater purpose for me to go there. That sort of thing can happen as you're moving through the eye of the needle. So you're starting to recognize how to move through your life as the love of yourself from a very relaxed, calm position where the logical mind isn't taking over anymore, where you're starting to align with true essence of who you are as love going on a journey. And then it really starts to become that. So there's all these different methods that you can use as well, moving into that love frequency of telling the logical mind to shush, giving yourself something else to focus on, just anything that doesn't have to be in alignment with what you are trying to make happen. But anything else that you can focus on just for the moment while you're moving through a transition. And that's one of the other things they want to bring up, transition, just that word. We are literally moving through a high-end transition of breaking down one reality to create another. And it's not even creating another. They said it's more just an alignment of love, which literally does create another reality. But what happens is when you bring yourself back to the moment, and you're focusing in on whatever you're doing through the love of yourself, and you're no longer afraid or fear the future anymore, or no longer afraid that the past is going to catch up to you. But you're just present. It literally is you stepping into a creator beings. But also while still acknowledging the logical mind for its tenacity to be able to ground everything into this physical realm, to be able to have the tangible objects, like tarot cards or crystals or so forth, even tangible objects that you can actually play with, work with, use as your playground. And there's nothing wrong with that, because so long as you are God moving through that with love, they're showing me somebody getting rid of all their crystals because their crystals are part of Earth, and then Earth should have them back again, and that sort of thing. And they're saying, don't necessarily have to do something like that, because when you are in essence love, you are the same as Earth. You're just another facet of Earth. You are neuron paths of Earth. You are another facet of communication that can have an experience. You are source energy, just as she is. And so the crystals and so forth that you thought in your logical mind, oh my God, I should get rid of all of them and I should give them back to Earth. They could be present there for you to, acknowledge, like for you to use as something that aligns you with even more love of yourself, or for you to just gaze into it and feel into it and feel this beautifulness from it. I always feel a beautifulness from this one. It's gorgeous, right? And then you can like shush your logical mind to not bring up negative stories and so forth. So that is benefit to source energy going on a journey. Whether source energy is going on a journey through a crystal, through Mother Earth, through you, it is all worthy. It is all worthy. And that's what humanity needs to bring more back into their life, is their worthiness of being here. We felt unworthy because we were unbalanced, and we didn't understand the power of ourselves through love of ourselves. We thought that we got it in our heads that we were on this earth, and literally that's what started manifesting. And it was so fake within our logical mind, holding on to that. Even that became fake outside of us. It's so interesting. Yeah, so fear will come into play when we feel like we have been hurt by an outside conditioning that pulled us into our logical mind going, if I do that, then I will get hurt by that. But they said that only happened because we were in alignment with the power of who we are. And so the reflection became that. So the more that we align with love of ourselves, the more that will actually fall away, because we will have the power of those that so-called punish us. We will have the power beyond that they miss it, that it doesn't get picked up, that we end up sliding in underneath the radar, they said. It's actually above the radar. What else do we want to bring through? So they're aligning me with Mother Gaia again. I might end up doing another video of channeling through her. They're showing me sprites. They're showing me all these different okay, so there's this crossover that's happening. Interesting enough. The powers that have been pulling us into, not such a great place, have been meddling in frequencies, and that's literally created, or spraying stuff, whatever it is, it's created all these beautiful colors in the sky. That's one story. The other story is humanity's consciousness is raising itself into a more of awareness of who we are. And then in reflection, we start to see an alignment of more beauty, more color coming into our reality of natural phenomenon happening here on Earth. Auroras, sprites, rainbow clouds, that sort of stuff. So there's these two stories that's been played out. Both of them are crossing over, or some have been through manipulation, and some are literal. Okay, interesting that they're bringing that up. So they're saying to me that no matter whether it's fake or, come from the powers to be meddling in the frequencies, okay, or a natural phenomenon taking place, it doesn't matter because it's still aligning with the same frequency of more color coming to humanity's consciousness. And it's interesting to note that when they meddle in these frequencies, because of source energy wanting to develop into a much more oneness reality, they're literally pulling us into that reality by meddling. So whatever they do now, they are trying to limit. Their intention is to limit. Their intention is to control. But everything that they do is literally expanding us. It's either pushing us into a corner that awakens us, or it opens up new doorways that we can actually use to communicate with off-world beings. The story is perfect as it is. So don't get too hung up on where it came from, which is interesting to note because I was. Don't get too hung up on where it came from. Just know that God itself, source energy, is already aligning itself for the benefit of those that are doing the shadow work and moving through the void into the spark of consciousness and threading themselves through this love story, so that they can create something completely new on the other side. Don't worry about the story behind it. You can get caught up in that loop. That's what they want you to do. That's literally how they hold you bondage. So when you just let go of everything is happening as it should, all is in alignment with me moving into more and more love of myself, that is enough. Okay, let's see what else. Wow. I think we'll leave it here. It's a shorter channeling, but that's okay. Yes. So don't forget to catch me live on Tuesdays, and we'll see what ends up progressing with that from that. I'm moving moment to moment through doing these messages. Whenever I feel pulled to, I will do it. And if not, I won't. But generally, there's at least one channel message like this week and at least one live. And then anything outside of that is beautiful anyway. Yeah. So until next time, bye.